There's a fair few on this evening, that's for sure.
Got a good turnout.
Yeah. Is this home for you, Joe, is it?
So New Bern is not. Actually, my son works at the Naval Air Station at Cherry Point. He works for the U.S. Department of Defense. When he graduated from school here in Charlotte. So I'm actually in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is a beautiful part of North Carolina. I hope everybody enjoys the scenery. I've tried to pick a variety of different kinds of landing spots. A couple of these are military or retired military / occasional use military. There are a few of these airports that we'll be visiting today that are actually operated by the state of North Carolina and the Parks Department for the U.S.
Yeah, I saw that in the PDF. There was also some privately owned one, wasn't it?
Yeah, the oddball, I think, in the group is the Circle P Farm. So there you go. There's a farmer who has his own airstrip.
Nice done anyway, thanks.
Jonathan, if you would kick us off today, and I'll do that the next time I host.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just getting my controls sorted out, and then I'll do the thing, and we'll get on our way. Apply, go back, resume. Where are we? I'm a bit rusty at this, having not done it for a few weeks.
Long vacation, John.
Oh dear. So yeah, welcome to everybody to the group. I'm sure a lot of you have flown with us before, so we do this every week, or we try to do this every week. The only real rules are, there's a flight plan published in the forum. I'll put a link in the live stream for that as well if you're watching this on the internet. Just either follow the group, just try to stick to about 120, is it, for tonight? In whatever plane you happen to be flying. The only real rules are to keep the conversation on the voice chat family friendly. But otherwise, just have fun, try to stay together, because otherwise it's not really a group flight if everybody gets spread up by 50 miles. So anyway, should we get on with it?
Evening, sorry, can I have a comm check?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, got you.
It works, thank you.
So New Bern, North Carolina is located on the confluence of the Trent and the Neuse River. This was actually the colonial capital of North Carolina. And served as such, I think, until 1749. Variety of history here. I guess the preponderance of the area is agricultural and tourist. If you are a duck hunter, duck season is popular in this part of North Carolina. And obviously there's a lot of fishing, both fresh and saltwater, that takes place down here in this part of North Carolina.
When is wabbit season?
Right after duck season.
It's wabbit season.
Are we on Southeast Asia tonight?
I think so, Jonathan. Yep, affirmative.
Okay.
As per usual, I do everything to get ready to go, and I run up with problems, I'll be late.
on scenery for this particular airport makes a big difference. Otherwise, it looks like a bus terminal.
I think it looks great here. I don't think I have the add-on. Is it a purchased add-on or it's a deal?
Yeah, it's a purchased add-on. I fly in and out of this thing all the time for some of my stuff, so I wanted to have something that looked like the real thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Gentlemen, if you're lined up on the runway, please take off. You've got a big queue behind you.
You're inclined after you take off, looping around and going up the Neuse River to where the downtown area is. There's a couple of bridges that run across, so it's pretty obvious where it is to give that a circuit and a loop if you are so inclined.
We don't have to worry about any hills around here, do we?
Molehills, maybe. A lot of wetland and salt marsh. It has an interesting aroma, I'll put it that way. One of the major agricultural activities in this part of North Carolina is actually harvesting trees for paper. So Weyerhaeuser is certainly one of the folks who are doing some land management down here. So periodic tree cuts are taking place. For those of you who like pork, there's also quite a few folks raising pork here for us to be able to eat. And if you weren't on earlier when I mentioned this, New Bern is actually the home of Pepsi Cola. So it was originally formulated here, and of course it's been subsequently sold several times. But the original pharmacist who developed the formula lived here in New Bern, and quite a delightful place.
Was Pepsi ahead of Coke, or?
Pepsi history.
I believe Coca-Cola came out first.
All bad for you.
$18.98. It was originally known as Brad's Drink after the pharmacist. His last name was Bradham.
Probably some big corporation that owns it now. Or is it something as the Pepsi company, like the Coca-Cola company?
Yep.
I see you're in the 182 too, Peter.
Yes, I've had it for a little while. I tried out the Archer 3 for a bit, but the engine's a bit noisy.
Yeah, I'm really loving this. It's a great little plane.
It's got a lovely engine sound as well, hasn't it?
Very realistic. What are we, 2-3 right at the next airfield, are we?
Yes, sir. So originally this base was named Cunningham Field, and this was built prior to the attack on Pearl Harbor in '41. Quite a variety of aircraft operate out of Cherry Point. Carriers until they retire, and they're still flying them. I think some of the new advanced technology jets are going to be based here, but there's joint activity between the branches of service that operate out of this base. So during the Second World War, this base was used as a anti-submarine warfare squadron operation, and actually there were 3 German U-boats that were sunk off the coast of North Carolina. Quite a few of the shipwrecks off the Outer Banks coast were a result of those U-boats torpedoing a variety of different kinds of ships.
Is it still a military base here?
Yep, it's quite active.
This is where your son will work, right?
So my son is an engineer for the Seahawk helicopter platform.
Wow, that must be great.
This is an engineering and support depot. So he's been very blessed to have that as a entry-level opportunity out of school.
Yeah.
The third airfield that we're going to visit, McCullough, the Atlantic Field, is actually a support base for this base, and they still use it for training and other purposes. But that base that we'll get to in 2 jumps actually was a dive bomber base. And it is one of the strangest looking landing strips that you'll ever blop in. It looks like a parking lot. Next stop is Circle P, and that's also going to be runway 22. It's quite a busy time in this part of the U.S. during the summer. So this is high tourist travel season. So there are a number of beach destinations along these barrier islands that people visit. It's definitely hot and humid during the summer.
Yeah, those trees.
Our next stop is Atlantic, bearing 084. those of you who enjoy short takeoff and landings, probably 2 miles to the northwest of Atlantic Field is one of my favorites. It's Wolf Den. The airport designator is NC-17.
Yes, under 1,000 feet.
That doesn't qualify as a runway. That qualifies as a small patch of grass.
A driveway and a tool shed, I think, Peter.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it before because I tried it a little while back.
That I think is a shame is that of all of the lighthouses that we have on the North Carolina coast, only the Cape Hatteras one is actually in the sim, but there's a total of 7 lighthouses scattered up and down the Outer Banks.
I believe it's a bit of a graveyard, Joe.
Yeah, they're like 3,000 shipwrecks plus, off the coast of the Outer Banks. It's definitely, those shoals and the currents definitely took their toll, and not having, good visibility definitely took the lives of a lot of sailors.
They must get a lot of divers during the summer months.
Yeah, they do. Actually, there's a significant, tourist demand for those kinds of dives, and there are some that you can visit. When I was a small child, we did go out to the Outer Banks several times on vacation/holiday, and some of the old wooden wrecks were actually visible. Some you could see actually on the beach. There was also a Civil War ironclad, I think, that was sunk right off the coast of Ocracoke, and you could see remnants of its stack.
Does the water get warm in the summer?
Depending on which part of the coast you're on, obviously the further out that you are in the Atlantic, like the bands of the Outer Banks with like Ocracoke and Cape Hatteras, the water is a little bit cooler, but yes, it does get warm. And as you can imagine, being that far out in the Atlantic, shark is not a uncommon occurrence.
Oh, okay.
Is this where
Very strong tidal forces too. So we have folks that drown in this part of the North Carolina coast too. They think they're stronger than they are.
It's got a big undercurrent,
Yeah, very strong current. I guess riptide is a good way of putting it. particular airfield was built in 1942, and there was a squadron of Dauntless SPD dive bombers based here, and then later in the war got cycled out with the Helldivers.
Runway are we going for?
Two 8.
I think 19 might be better. The wind on the ground is from the south.
Funny thing, weather changes, right? I thought it was interesting that there's also a private airstrip right close to this military operations center.
Does Mr. O's DC-3 have really bright nav lights?
Quite a few of us flying the 182 RG today.
I took the Bonanza, it's got aircon.
Oh, softy.
actually flew my first flight when I was working on my private pilot's license in a 172 RG. I was scared to death.
You mean the first solo or the check ride?
No, this was the first time I was actually allowed to touch the controls with my instructor, and we landed at what is KGSO. It's Greensboro Piedmont Triad International Airport. And one of the things that we have in Greensboro is there is a huge gasoline and gas tank farm right outside of the runways, and the vision I had in my head was stalling on approach and crashing into the tanking farm and being human barbecue.
Concentrates your mind.
Yeah, really.
My flight instructor was quite enjoying my fear, and the control tower at Greensboro was quite impressed with the pep that I had in my step in terms of my approach. So I'm definitely going to pick up that 182 RG.
Oh, yeah. Delightful. Got a choice of avionics too, which is good. It's our coffee stop next one, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
It's early morning for me, so I'm hanging out for it.
For coffee at Ocracoke, you're going to have to jump in the car and get a taxi, because I don't think there's anything at the airfield.
We're in the virtual world, I can imagine.
You've just got a thermos full of your favorite, right?
Yeah, that'll do. I drive 120k to buy my coffee. Either that or I get them to courier it to me.
There's actually a major coffee manufacturing facility that's about 1.5 miles from my house, Ellis. It's quite delightful when they're roasting and the wind is in the right direction.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that smells so good.
The big fad thing down here in Kiwi land, there's heaps and heaps of boutique coffee roasters. Some of them are bad and some of them are very, very good.
So the barrier islands that you see to your right are part of the Cape Lookout National Seashore.
These inner lagoons, are they very deep? Or are they all pretty
Pamlico
shallow?
Sound is pretty deep, Ellis. So there's shrimp and oyster harvesting that takes place in the Pamlico.
Scallops. As we call them.
Scallops, yep.
Looks like that kind of territory, doesn't it?
Yeah, scallops and then what we would call shrimp.
Making me hungry.
Yeah, all the good stuff.
Well, in the southern United States, if anything sits still for more than 30 seconds, we can throw it in a deep fryer and fry it. But lots of different ways to prepare that stuff that's good.
Right, yeah.
So I guess a geography fun fact or earth science fact about these barrier islands, they actually are migrating in toward the main shoreline. It'll be several million years before they get there, but you can imagine the wind and the surf, you know, pushing the sand that is to our right over across the island, and then it's moving slowly inland.
That's amazing.
It's one of the reasons why they had to move the Cape Hatteras lighthouse, which we will see later, which was quite an amazing feat of engineering. But the lighthouse had gotten to within like 11 feet of the high tide mark, so they did have to move the lighthouse and situated it in a much safer place.
Some here they're showing some houses down here. Is it in the real life? Not many, but a few of them.
Yeah, there are a few houses that have, you know, obviously been washed out, but there are a number. Once we get up past the Cape Hatteras lighthouse, you'll see houses that are out. They look like they're in the middle of the beach, but originally they weren't.
Just Mother Nature doing its thing. Oh, but it's global warming.
Or it's Mother Nature doing its thing.
Exactly.
Ocracoke Island has quite a history. Actually, off the coast of Ocracoke in the Pamlico Sound, Blackbeard the pirate used to hang out until he met his demise. So the wreck of his pirate ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, is located just off of the North Carolina coast, not too far from Ocracoke.
Oh, when was that?
Early 1700s, if memory is serving me correctly.
Did somebody put a cannonball through his hull?
Funny, isn't it? As soon as you start reading about the history of piracy, it turns out most of the pirates were paid mercenaries by various governments.
Yeah, like the mercenaries of today.
Yep, just there to go and ruin the shipping routes of other countries.
I was watching a TV show the other day about the modern day pirates around Sudan there, you know, and the reason why they do it. It was very interesting. You know, their livelihoods was all taken away from them, and they claimed they had no option.
Yes, I think I saw that. It was a documentary.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, a couple
I
of
think
years old.
It was on YouTube, I think. Yeah.
I think they mostly used to be fishermen, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Then they couldn't catch any fish because somebody came along and pinched them all. So you're going to take what's ours, we're going to take what's yours. So that's what they did.
Let's confirm this is a full stop, isn't it, this one?
Yeah.
I can't remember who recommended the shorter trees mod, but it really does make things look a little bit more realistic, should we say.
I agree.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing to have installed.
Which mod is that?
I'm using AccuSeason.
The one I've got
I think it's called Little Trees. It's on flightsim.to.
Oh, nice, cheers.
Flight markings at a premium down here.
So as you're approaching this this part of the Barrier Islands, to your left would be the village of Ocracoke. It's actually home to the oldest lighthouse on the eastern United States coast. I think it was built in 1823. There's actually a ferry that runs from the southern Cape Lookout National Seashore up to Ocracoke, so you don't have to make a very, very long drive up the eastern part of North Carolina to be able to get to the other part of the Outer Banks, and obviously be able to get to Ocracoke as well.
Is there enough room for us all to park up here?
First come, first served.
Yeah, we might have to snuggle together.
I suppose if you have tundra tires, you can park on the beach and enjoy the sounds of the sea.
I tried landing on the beach further down on one of the Barrier Islands. It was a lot less flat than it seemed.
Oops.
I just did a touch and go. Yeah, it's not very flat.
I nearly shot straight back up into the air, bouncing off a jeep.
Well, it was a nice thought.
Yeah, it's better the closer you get to the sea, but then...
A bit windy.
Yeah, it is looking kind of crowded down there, guys. Oh, I guess there's parking at the one end, though. That's good.
That wind was tossing us around a bit.
Yeah.
I pushed the talk button, fell off, and then I got flustered and landed completely wrong way.
There was some wind shear, wasn't there, about 100 yards before the runway?
There was, Jonathan, yeah.
Thanks for the heads up.
I was too busy panicking to say anything.
I understand.
The same, but I got down safely in the...
So if I flip on top of somebody, sorry.
Yeah, this one's a bit scary.
You flown here in real life, Joe?
No, have not.
T.
Yeah, I think in hindsight we should have made our coffee stop the next one because there's plenty of room at Billy Mitchell Field.
I don't know, it was worth coming here just to see that Strato liner come in.
Well, thank you very much. At least I didn't make a fool of myself.
Right, I'm going to go and get a coffee. I'll be back in a bit.
Two.
Well, the RG2 would have been my other choice, of course. Good plane.
That was exciting.
No, great flight plan, Joe. Appreciate the tour.
Oh, my pleasure.
Just saw a Cessna 337 emerge through the trees. Quite bizarre.
I think one of the plans that I put together and put out on the calendar for, I think I put it out there in September, is actually the southern part of the barrier islands in North Carolina. So we'll go the other direction. We'll go south.
These marshals here are deliberately ignoring us. Very rude.
we still have your tie downs attached on the steel ship.
Right, so have coffee.
Well, as you can imagine, you've seen how isolated Ocracoke is. It's also a great place to take a chartered deep sea fishing expedition. This is definitely not the place you want to be during a hurricane. You know, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if anybody else noticed this or not, but there are quite a few levitating trees just off the runway.
So there is.
I can firmly attest that white oak trees do not float.
So we've had several comments on the live stream saying it makes a huge difference having the local knowledge on the flight, so thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure.
Yeah, I agree.
The flight we had last week with Ellis, providing some commentary around, some of the stuff in New Zealand was wonderful.
Yep, the bar's been well and truly set. I can see people poring over books for weeks ahead of their flight now to get all the data they can.
Yes, dad duties got in the way last week, Ellis, but just to say a massive thank you for your commentary when we were flying in New Zealand last week. It really was excellent and very interesting.
Oh yeah, it's one of the things I enjoy about the sim. Being able to learn about all these places without going there physically. And you, it stirs the travel bug.
Have you played with Bush Talk Radio in the sim?
No.
It's very, very good. You can get it from FlightSim.2. It puts an add-on in that puts thousands and thousands of points of interest in place. When you get within about a mile of a point of interest, an AI voice starts reading it like a museum narration, telling you all about the place.
I must have a look at that. How accurate is it? It'd be interesting.
People can put the information in themselves, so it's it's volunteer done.
Oh, must have a look at that.
So yeah, typically it's information off of Wikipedia, places like that. But yeah, it's as you're flying along, it suddenly spouts up and starts talking at you as you fly over a point of interest.
What was the name of it again, Jonathan?
Bush Talk Radio.
Bush Talk Radio.
The other thing it can do is tune into local radio stations while you're flying.
You wouldn't want to listen to any of ours at the moment. It's all a load of rubbish.
It's really cool though. Go to like middle of Brazil or something, and you get all of their pop music pouring out of the speakers. It's great fun. Flying somewhere over Tokyo and hearing commercial radio, and obviously unless you can speak Japanese, none of it makes any sense at all. Okay, I'm just going to orbit the airfield until everybody's back. Get on our way, I guess.
Oh, I spy a Corsair on the runway.
Yeah, there's big traffic at the moment.
An A320 lining up there to take off.
That's what I'm seeing too.
Yeah, it's the Corsairs.
Not only that, but it's a tail dragger one as well.
It is too.
So I didn't realise until somebody told me. Has anybody with the 182 RG noticed there are small mirrors underneath the wings?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, if you look out left,
I haven't noticed that.
if you look out left, there's a small mirror. And somebody told me what it's for. It didn't occur to me. It's to check if the wheels are down.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a really cheap kind of hack, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Huh.
Little convex mirror so you can see the underneath of the aircraft.
Yeah, lots of aircrafts have those.
Right.
Even twins, they have put them on the nacelles of the engine or something like that.
Yeah, speaking of landing gear, we had it was a Delta Airlines flight that had its nose gear not deployed. and had to make an emergency landing here in Charlotte. The runway was closed for about a day, but I saw a video, I think it was on YouTube, one of the passengers was streaming the landing. That was the most butter of emergency landings you'll ever see. It was quite impressive.
I saw that on Twitter actually. It was very, very smooth.
Yeah, me too.
I think didn't the passenger even comment initially when it touched down that they were like, oh, the landing is fine. Because it was so smooth.
Does anybody follow, I think it's the Baron Pilot YouTube channel? Where his other half has been learning to fly?
Oh, I haven't seen.
One of the episodes, they recorded all of her flight lessons, right, from first lesson upwards. And about, I don't know, halfway through her flight training, they had an engine, well, not a failure, but a problem with the engine on takeoff. And yeah, so live on camera, you saw the instructor take over and do a fantastic, he did an impossible turn and came back into the same runway. But the speed of his reactions and, side-slipping it in because they were obviously going far too fast. And then once he actually calmed down, he was physically shaking on the runway, even though he had done it, like an absolute pro that he is. But you saw the adrenaline go through him once they were safe.
Is that the Baron Pilot, did you say, John?
Yeah.
I'll have a look.
I quite enjoy that guy that's got the Cessna that flies around with his dolly bird everywhere. He does some Pilot 101 or whatever he calls himself. Yeah, he's very good.
I saw a video the other day. I think Missionary Bush Pilot's going back to flying Kodiaks, isn't he?
What, the guy that blows up in New Guinea there?
Yeah, I think he's going back over there and carrying on from there because he stopped for a while, didn't he?
Did he? Yeah.
He seemed to be just having sort of one long holiday with little Kit Fox type plane, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was like his, whatever the contract was, came to an end with the Kodiak, but I think he's going back and starting a new contract.
I think they get hooked on the bush flying, don't they, on those little runways?
Maybe.
Good friend of mine actually did it for 2 years. That was many years ago, and they were Norman Islanders was what he was flying up there, he told me, at the time.
Right, I'm going to do one more circle, and then I'm going to go off to the next waypoint.
Our next stop is Billy Mitchell Airfield.
I wonder how these places manage in a storm.
Runway 25.
Yeah, from time to time the hurricanes are big enough where they actually end up evacuating everybody.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
And how long have these hurricanes been going on for?
A couple of years.
I'd say a couple of 1,000 years.
Yep.
Cause half the shipwrecks on these.
Somebody tell the greenies about it, will they?
For anybody, I was going to say, for anybody who has a cat, does that cat understand the concept that it can come in through a cat flap, but when it wants to go back outside again, it yells its head off by the back door and doesn't go through the cat flap?
Oh, they know what they're doing. They know.
In control, Peter.
Exactly.
I got a remedy for that, Peter.
What's that?
Bang!
we've got 2 cats. When they're hungry, they bring into action. They do time and motion studies for hours and figure out the most difficult place to sit, which will get in the most people's way.
That's usually right on the keyboard, isn't it?
That's what they lay across.
Big thing down in Kiwi land at the moment is there's a big campaign to get rid of all the feral cats. They're decimating our bird life.
They're trying to wipe out the rats as well, aren't they?
And the stoats and everything. It's having a dramatic effect. In a lot of places we're getting a lot of the native bird life back, and they're pretty special because they don't exist anywhere else. Like our tuis and the kakapos. New Zealand never had any mammal predators, only had one mammal, and it was a little tiny bat. Everything else was imported.
So, fun fact, most of the airspace that is to our left into the Pamlico Sound is actually restricted airspace, and it's classified as a military operations area. There are quite a few live target ranges that are out in what is called Pamlico County, which would be, I guess, to our west. It's free operation taking place out here these days. I think I mentioned this earlier. Billy Mitchell Airport is actually a joint operation between the U.S. National Park Service and the state of North Carolina. So it's quite an interesting arrangement. The state and the Park Service have partnered together to make sure that some of these smaller general aviation strips stay up and running and are accessible to folks.
Do they have any kind of commercial service? Because I know that some of them sort of operate a subsidized air service, don't they?
Yeah, I think in the case of Billy Mitchell, the answer to that one is no. But yeah, I think there are others that would have that kind of arrangement, Peter.
There's supposed to be a lot of locales that would offer charter services too, wouldn't they? Out to places like that.
Yep. There's actually a campground that's right off of Billy Mitchell Airport. So there's at least a place to crash. I think there are porta potties at the airport, so there's definitely not a coffee shop.
Definitely would be a place to crash next to the airport.
That was a bad pun, wasn't it? Although I can't imagine that being a great experience unless you did it in the late fall, early winter, because of the mosquitoes would be terrible. Oh, another fun fact, I guess, about the barrier islands that I would mention to you all is that there are places where there are wild horses. So these would have been I guess, of Spanish descent that were wild and running free on the island. Not so much anymore in Ocracoke. I think they've corralled all of those. But in the upper part of the Outer Banks, toward the North Carolina-Virginia state line, there are still wild horses that live in the salt marsh near the beach.
Are you guys landing with the wind having any trouble putting the wheels down?
The wind just blew me off the runway.
So I'm going around the other side to land because, yeah, I'm not even going to try landing with the wind.
I came in the right way, but a bit of wind shear there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite exposed, isn't it, to the onshore breeze.
Fly up to the lighthouse now, isn't it?
Yep. The next series of stops along the way are just, well, waypoint 1 is actually the Cape Hatteras lighthouse. So I would recommend swinging out to the right of the point, and then taking your approach up the banks. The other nav points were just simply to guide us up, through the barrier islands, just so that you get a sense of just how fragile this ecosystem really is.
Well, I'm currently buzzing along at about 500 feet. I can see the lighthouse off my port wing at the moment.
Yeah, the modeling that they did of the lighthouse is very, very good. I just wish they would add the others because they are equally as stunning.
It's like subdivision development down there. No houses, but
lots of places to stay for your beach trip. On approach to this particular runway, there is an example of a house that's out on the beach, and that is real.
I'll jump outside and have a look at that.
Just passed over that subdivision, Alice. I think it's a campground.
Is that what it is? Yeah, probably right. I'm coming back over it again now. That looks like a campground down there.
Yeah, Ellis, there are a lot of those on the North and South Carolina coast. Lots of places to park an RV.
Yeah, that's what it is, all right, Peter. Yeah.
Over to have a look at this lighthouse.
Well, there's that house out on the beach. Why would you want to build there?
Well, 25 years ago, that house would have been hundreds of feet from the beach.
Yeah. Our holiday place is a bit like that, but nothing's changed in 35 years, so we're still as far from the beach as we ever were. There goes prone to crash in his A320. I don't know what he's flying, something that I haven't got. Right, we head off up to Kitty Hawk now, do we?
Yes, sir.
Well, I've learned something because it's nothing like what I imagined it to be.
Nice lighthouse.
Very nice.
It's well done, isn't it? Isn't there a pack of lighthouses that somebody makes for the simulator?
Yeah, we've got it.
Yes, there is. I can't remember the name of it
You mean for the world or for regions?
I'm not sure whether it's regional or it's, you know, it's along the lines of things like the power lines add-on and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, I think you're right. I could have sworn I remember something about the west coast of the USA having some too.
I believe it's a freebie on Orbits.
Oh yes, I think you might be right actually.
I'm not seeing lots of masts at the moment, so I wonder whether I haven't got this region installed or something.
Yeah, I think it was 3 regions that have been up here far.
I thought I downloaded them all. I'm definitely getting masts in Europe and other places we've flown.
Well, I was definitely getting around that, so it's definitely there.
But one of the things you might not have noticed is just how far they had to move that, or they moved that lighthouse, because there's a car park / parking lot over here on the beach side, and it's probably a good mile and change that they moved that lighthouse. Yeah, that particular lighthouse is a major tourist attraction on the North Carolina coast.
So who's looking forward to the new aeroplane coming out? Is it Wednesday it comes out?
What's that?
Another one, Jonathan.
The Fokker, isn't it? The jet plane.
Oh, yeah. When's the Lancaster coming?
We're all going to wait for you to review it, Jonathan.
Is it the 27?
I don't know. I don't know those aeroplanes very well at all.
Yeah, it's the F-28. Twin jet. Like a small Trident or small B-8111.
It's pretty obvious. It's the same team that did the 146. You can just tell glancing at it, can't you?
Yeah, I watched the preview video today, so everything one. It looks very good. It's very detailed.
It's another uphill climb to there.
I think it's Liverpool Airport that has one stuck on the roof that you can go inside.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's no FMC or anything. It's pre-FMC days, so it's all flying by dials.
Brilliant.
I'm quite looking forward to the Lancaster coming out.
Yeah, when is that?
Yes.
Just for the sound.
Merlins.
When it does come out, we'll have to get Lee to come back out with us, because can you remember Lee did a tour of the dams in Germany?
I was going to say that'll be the first group, won't it?
Yeah, I did that one.
That would be good.
Just see 50 Lancasters at 20 feet above the water.
Excellent idea.
When does that come out?
I'm not sure. I don't think they know either yet, to be honest.
But when it does, we know what to do.
Anyone with a 109 can meet us there.
It's been 3 years in the making, isn't it, so far?
I think Microprose were releasing the B-17 game soon, aren't they?
I didn't realise till I started reading about it that the Stratoliner is a B-17.
Yes. With a bigger diameter fuselage.
Yes, pretty much. They just remounted the wings, the tail and the engines on a different body, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great fun too if they actually do that one as well.
It's interesting because if you look at that, is it the Boeing 247 that Wing 42 made for Flight Sim?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you look at that, you can see B-17 written all over it.
It's got that kind of look to it.
Yeah, it's the predecessor basically, so they didn't go far from it with the design. It's quite amazing though. There's a B-17 in one of the museums in London, one of the RAF museums, and it's quite amazing how small they are, you know, when you actually walk up to one and walk around it.
Quite narrow.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't help that sort of 50 yards away from it, across the floor of the museum, there's a Vulcan bomber.
Some years back, I was driving my car and I had heard that the B-17 was in town over at the local airfield. And there's this one crossover street that goes up over the railroad tracks and comes back down, and it's kind of aimed towards the field in the distance, even though you can't see the field over there. And that thing was leaping off the ground as I was coming down to the bottom of that overpass. And I mean, that thing roared out of that field. It was just totally awesome.
You mentioned a Vulcan there, that's coming here soon as well, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so.
And also a Phantom, I believe.
Yeah, the Phantom's coming to DCS as well.
That'll be good.
Have some proper dogfights with MiG-21s and Phantoms.
What a beautiful day for a flight through here.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Time that people got set. I've got mine at about 8 o'clock in the evening at the moment, which is lovely.
I see on little nav map we've got a reception committee. MacVision 3D coming out to meet us. Must be using transmitter.
Must be a ferry run-off or something now, and it's just flown over a strange little bit of new road that just goes into the main.
The problem, Ellis, is that he's in a 182 like the rest of us, and we won't know if he's one of us or which way he's going.
Get a shock soon.
He should have a shock, didn't he? And then all this goes past and the other way.
You know, one of the amazing things about, you know, vacationing here is the night sky and just how much of some of the banding that you can see from the Milky Way and some of the other galaxies that are out there that you would not be able to see if you were close to a city.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's much light pollution, is there?
Yeah, I mean, it's still there, but it's drastically reduced.
Do they have any telescopes based around on the strip?
I'm not sure if the University of North Carolina, which is our university system here, operates one out on the coast. There's actually one that's not too far from where I grew up in central North Carolina that's actually out in the middle of nowhere that I took some astronomy classes when I was in college. But North Carolina State, UNC Chapel Hill, and UNC Greensboro operate that observatory together.
you said that there's some ferries, but it's a long drive to the mainland if you live out here, isn't it?
Yeah, there's actually a bridge that goes across from Nag's Head to a village called Manio. Manio actually was the place where the Lost Colony was founded. So that's actually the first settlement in this part of the New World.
This sounds like a daft question, but they're not building a tunnel, are they, to the mainland at all? Because I've just passed over what looks like the approach that goes straight into the water off of the motorway.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. It's like I thought it was a ferry launch point or something.
Now that makes more sense, yes.
But it looked like it was being built to me.
I'm just flying over a long bridge linking the two islands.
Yeah, they finally built one big enough, I think, that a hurricane's not going to be able to take that particular one out. But that bridge between Cape Hatteras and the upper island periodically would get washed down. It would break. This is North Carolina Highway 12 that runs up through this part of the state. And it's not uncommon during a hurricane to have, smaller portions, particularly on these outer barrier islands, to have, sea wash out a section of 12.
You can see along the shoreline that there's sort of the sand dunes are all piled up. Is that man-made or is that just a natural formation?
So that's natural stuff. There's actually a very, very large sand dune up near the Wright Brothers Memorial and First Flight. It's Jockey's Ridge State Park. There is a huge natural dune, and it is so tall that they actually teach hang gliding off the top of the dune.
There's another nice lighthouse right under where I'm flying over. Bodie Island Lighthouse.
Yeah, it's actually pronounced body, just to throw everybody off.
Nice black.
So they added Body Island Lighthouse. That's great.
Looks like it.
From memory, I think that's horizontal black and white stripes.
That's correct. Rather, that's what the model has.
Yeah, the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse is what I would call a candy stripe pattern.
Yeah.
I think they dropped a few $1 billion on that bridge connecting these two islands.
The wind generator just offshore. I want to look at that.
middle of a national wildlife refuge.
Weirdly enough, those sort of things work out quite well because the bird life is undisturbed apart from some loud bangs. They found that with the RAF bombing ranges, that they're quite wildlife havens.
Yeah, that particular range I think is used for live fire exercises, and there's also several locations where they practice delivery of equipment, airdrops.
Big bombing range just to the southeast of Grimsby, and that's a seal sanctuary.
Anyone else noticed since the last update to the simulator there's a graphical artifact along the edge of the shore, so you can see a line at the edge of the water?
I saw that, yeah. I didn't realize it was from a latest update.
Yeah, it's a bug.
I can't see
But it's
it.
definitely, yeah.
I can't see that. Where are we looking, John?
Oh no, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, just at the edge of the water, where the water should kind of dissolve into the beach, there's a solid brown line. It comes and goes.
That's where it's wet.
Yes,
Definitely.
I just thought that was wet sand.
It's where it's snow.
Yeah, I just noticed it, Jonathan, yeah.
I've just ruined it for everybody, haven't I?
Can't not see it.
That's still wet sand.
Just a lot of seaweed.
No, there is a line there.
Okay, so very near the monument, aren't we?
There is a fault there.
Yeah, I can see it now.
I'm going to go and have a look at the Wright Brothers Memorial.
Where was that?
There's a circular hill with a like a rotunda with a big obelisk.
There's a monolith there.
Monolith, yeah, that's where I'm flying towards.
Their names are.
There's a circular feature on a hill. You'll see it. Don't worry.
Yeah, can't miss it actually. I've got it.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
It's right next to the airport.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Might even try and get the Kodiak up there.
So a few weeks ago, I relocated the Wright Flyer over to where Orville and Wilbur did their flights, and had a bit of fun with that. That's quite an interesting experience.
Is the memorial on the actual location, or is it someone else?
Yeah, there are markers at the memorial that mark the actual locations of the flights and their flight distances,
Okay.
as well as their work shed, which is preserved.
Is it? That's cool.
Yeah, the monument is actually shaped like an airplane tail if you look at it.
Is that the shed just in the little hollow below the monolith?
Would be to the north of where the memorial monument is.
It's a shame that one's told about the airport because I'm much longer running that runway.
And a couple of thousand yards from the monolith is actually the museum It's an interesting place, that's for sure.
Sort of rough landing ways in.
Yeah. I didn't get away with it.
Did you notice the dunes at Jockey's Ridge State Park?
Whereabouts is that in relation to the airport?
It's due south.
I didn't. Although I had the...
I'm just coming over it right now, so if you want to look and see where my marker is.
I'd imagine, given its history, this is probably quite a busy airport, is it, with people coming in and visiting?
Well, it's well modelled, this monument.
Yeah, I did the hang gliding bit as a teenager. It was quite fun. And conveniently placed on both ends of this runway are power lines if you have that add-on turned on.
Yep. Who's that taxiing up the monument? No respect.
Oh, somebody just hit the ground near the monument.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it
Right
crash.
up the hill. It didn't work.
I was going to say, are we running a spot landing competition at the monument, looking at the Kodiak there?
Oh, who's ruining my picture? Sorry.
If you go down to the turnabout at the end of the runway, you can see the museum, and you can also see the markers, the distance markers that I was referring to earlier.
That was awesome, Joe. Thank you very much. It's, enjoyed the commentary. Thank you.
Good
Yeah,
history
really
there.
good fun.
Really good,
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Yep, very good, thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Joe. It's been really interesting.
thanks, Joe.
Right.
It's next Sunday. I've not looked yet.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Really interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh. Well, that'll teach me for trying to get to the monument.
I'm going to close the live stream down. That was fantastic.